Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of Smuggler's Blues, a redemption story. I'm Michael. I'm playing the role of Tazi tonight. And every night that we do this, it's kind of the character I play. I'll transfer us over here to Kaylee. Kaylee?
I'm the aforementioned Kaylee, and I'm playing the I'm playing Corell, who is a Jedi on the run from the evil empire that we all know and love. So, Chris, what do you do? Everything else?
Yeah, I get to be the GM. I also get to play the two droids, R3A1, our lovable astromech droid, and 11D4, our multi-armed or medicine droid. It's gonna be a great night if Michael and I can't talk. But
I was the one who couldn't talk.
I
I'm
mean, I
Kaylee.
can also not talk, and then we can just all
yeah,
not talk together.
I think this is
yeah,
probably a good theme for the entire evening. Smuggler's
I think
Blues,
so there.
when nobody can talk.
Nice. So let's roll the old destiny pool. Holy cow! I actually rolled light side point. Two of them.
To Dark Side, because
Um,
yes, that's today.
and one dark side.
All right. Three dark, two light. Try to remember to use them. No promises, but we will try to remember.
I'm pretty sure that we'll use them. So.
hmm when we last left off, the crew had to fix the reactor that was underneath your castle, as it's been referred to, even though it's just more of an old monastery.
Mhm.
You guys had to go down and splice some broken wires together, open up a fresh water valve, to get water down there to cool it off, and then the droids had to work on the computer panel and getting the control rods back in place.
There's also a
You
lot
know,
of murdering of womp rats.
yeah.
There was, correct, tons of womp rats were dead, and tracked down to their little nest where they were murdered some more.
And
And
Carell and Tazi avoided being irradiated, so that's good.
mhm,
I mean, I can cross that off my bucket list.
yep, I think we kind of open up with the crew coming out. Well, three of the crew coming out because Tazi was up top dealing with getting the fresh water in the little pumping station outside where he was almost swallowed by a snake, but managed to avoid
Almost.
that. Well, you were hugged by a snake for a moment,
Yes.
and then
There was
he was
definitely there
definitely
was definitely a very emotional moment with the
yeah.
snake.
You showed your feelings and then moved on. So we have Corel coming up. Uh, what does Corel currently look like as she comes out of the tunnels from underneath your castle?
Corella is dusty, sweaty, pretty filthy at this point. Looks tired and is trying not to let her irritation show. When she sees Tazi covered in pieces of snake and other whatever, um, she has a kind of a hard time with her expression. Um, Tazi, I appreciate your new accessorization choices, but it's gonna smell up the ship.
Yeah, yeah. When these Godans attack, they yeah. I killed it, but now I'm covered in Kodan juice. It doesn't smell good.
No, I would assume it doesn't. Maybe before you get on the ship, you use the fresher in the building and the one farthest away from where we sleep.
Wait, is Fresher working with the reactor down?
Well, the reactor's not down.
I thought the reactor was down.
No, A1 and D4 fixed it.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought that
They
I thought
kept
we
it
were
from
keeping it from
melting down.
exploding.
Right.
But I thought it was out of commission for now.
As far as where'd A1 go? I mean, we could ask A1, where did he go? I key up my comm. A1, can you give
Uh,
us a status on the reactor?
Taz
go for A1.
Tazi leans down into the water, the remaining water that's coming out of the pumping vent,
Okay.
the pumping valve, and starts just kind of running water over his skin. He's got half of his flight suit's kind of pulled down to his waist, unzipped, and kind of tied loosely around his waist, so he's just wearing kind of like the flight suit undergarment. It's like I mean, the best way I can describe it is like an Under Armour shirt. It's
Mhm,
like it's form fitting, meant to kind of draw sweat and stuff away from the flight suit.
mhm. It wicks things away.
Yes, it's a wicking shirt, not
Uh,
Wiccan. Although Wiccan is fine. Tazi
yeah,
is not a Wiccan, but he's wearing a
It's a
wicking
wiki wiki woo,
shirt.
yes.
Yes, yes.
uh,
A1, what is the status of the reactor? I'd like to know before I alarm Tazi because I think he might be bathing in slightly radioactive water.
What?
it's cooling off right now. Things seem to be returning to normal,
Okay.
and we'll have to do some repairs because this is really old
Oh,
and not safe. I'm, I'm surprised they don't have an attendant down here to watch this full time. It's what they should do.
well, I mean, if you can recommend a droid to do so, I mean, we can find something.
We'd have to find one that wants to be down here and cover all this, and then
Yeah.
teach them how to
But
do
do
it.
we have any is there power at this point?
Yes, slowly
Okay.
it'll be returning to normal.
And what are the levels of radiation in the exhaust water?
The water is currently being recycled,
Okay, so
and we
Tazi's
should be
not
able to
going to
get it.
turn greener than he already bit, kind of the more green.
Uh, I hope not.
Okay, he's just covered in reptile guts. So, okay. Um, thanks for the status report. I thought you were right behind me, so this is a weird conversation to have.
Be there in a few minutes. We're just
Huh?
stabilizing everything down here.
Okay, corral out. Disconnect.
And Tazi walks up and like he's dripping off of the shirt, dripping some of that water, and then he just kind of like swishes his mouth and like spits. What do you want to say? Do we have power?
Yes, we have power and ew.
Well, I got some of it in my mouth. I needed to wash my mouth out.
Well,
Again. Ugh.
I mean, okay. I mean, you could just go inside and use the clean. You know what? It's all good.
No,
It's
I'm
fine.
I'm going to use the fresher, but I didn't want to track this stuff into the house.
And that is very much appreciated. Oh, yeah, I probably need to work on the ship a little bit too because there's a very large crack in the loading ramp.
I mean, yeah, there's a crack in the loading ramp. You're absolutely right. Don't get around it.
Okay.
Sorry
Well,
about that.
I'll go work on that then.
I'll go get cleaned up.
You do that then.
Tazi heads inside the old monastery.
All right.
I'll throw.
Tazi's off to the fresher. A few minutes later, we see D4 walk up, just covered in moisture and dust and other slime from the tunnels. A few minutes later, we see A1 roll up. His whole body is covered in the same kind of moisture and slime. We see his clear dome is slightly dipped in the very top from where he was pushing down on top of the control rods. Looks like his dome melted a little bit. Otherwise, they both look like they're in good shape. They come out of the monastery and they find Corel. A1 rolls up. What's your plan for fixing that? I mean, it's split in half.
You think you can arc weld it together?
I mean, I can, but I don't know if that's going to be thick enough of a weld to hold while we're in space.
Then we're gonna have to get maybe if we grab one of the hull plates, the armor plates, and weld it over the weld.
Yeah, we could try that. I could weld some on the inside, some on the outside. We could try that, but we really should find a way to get this replaced.
We absolutely should. Do you have the credits to do so?
I have as many as you do.
Oh, so that means we have 50 credits altogether.
Oh, yep. Wait, did you carry the 0 to the yep, 50?
Yeah, yeah. 0, 0, carry the 0,
Mhm.
still 0.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are we
So,
gonna do about the reactor that's under us?
well, I mean, they didn't tell us anything about this, so maybe Tazi needs to go have a little word with Worak and see if maybe he can get us some money for doing, saving the planet. I mean, it's not normally a paying gig, but I'll take anything we can at this point.
I mean, if you think we can get something out of it,
Do you have a better idea?
I
I mean,
mean,
they've been like crediting us like to death ever since we took on this thing. It's like every time we go and do a job, there's some fee or something like that. So every time we just barely get ahead.
yeah, maybe we should do some side jobs while we're out doing their jobs.
If we can find some, yeah. I mean,
Maybe a bit more.
the last side job we had almost got quite a few of us killed.
Almost, but we made it.
Yeah, yeah. It's there's been a lot of almosts. I mean, I still will thank you again for the rescue.
You're welcome. Maybe we should steal some of the Imperial ships and sell them to the rebels. Because you never know when they're going to need an Imperial ship to sneak past a blockade or something like that.
Okay. Would we not need an Imperial ship to sneak into Imperial areas to get an Imperial ship?
Or we could intercept one while it was going from point A to point B. We just need to figure out where it's going.
So piracy is your answer.
Sure. You tomato, piracy, making money. You call it what you want.
Well, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just trying to figure out where you're going with this.
Somewhere we can make money.
Not literally where we're not like what is our physical location? I'm trying to get the gist of what you want.
Credits?
Okay. So at the end of the day, if you have credits, you are happy. Is that it?
Well, then the ship doesn't look like this. We don't have a
Right. Okay.
broken
So
ramp and
we want the ship to be look good and to work,
Mhm.
and to do that we need credits, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
what does having the ship working and looking good mean for you?
Less time fixing it.
Right. So if we want to be lazy, we need to fix the ship, and to do that we need credits.
Yes, that feel like you're explaining to me what I just said to you.
Well, you didn't explain it very well, so I had to explain it the way you said it. I'm trying to get you to examine your motivations.
They haven't really changed since we've been together.
I would disagree. I heard all about your desire to go and, kill people, sell people.
Well, that's the old programming.
Right. So your motivations have changed.
Yes. What do you want?
That is a very important question and something I meditate on every day. Because what I want is not simple. There are so many pieces that have to be set into motion, and even then, the chances of it happening are near zero.
All right. What's the first piece?
Stay alive, stay fed,
All right. What's the
stay flying.
second? What's the what's the fourth piece?
The fourth piece has to do with a cast iron bathtub and a toaster. No,
All right.
sorry. That was the sixth piece. The fourth piece is underpants.
Got it.
But eventually, I would like to see the Jedi Order brought back, and the Republic brought back. The Empire
Okay.
defeated, but we are being hunted. So that is a very big ask. So I'm trying to focus on the interim steps.
All right.
About this time, Tazi makes his way back out of the monastery to the two of you.
And
Um,
we're doing absolutely no work. We're just standing
yeah,
there talking.
freshly cleaned. Smells a little bit like uh, crate dragon and sandwood.
Body spray.
Yeah, Vibro-X body spray.
There we go. Hey,
Eh,
everyone looks at you. You're not covered in green stuff.
well, no, I'm not anymore. Um, I was covered in green stuff after I got attacked by a snake lizard thing.
Okay.
I shot it. I kind of got parts and juice on me, so I had to go
Yeah.
wash that off.
Mm. So, what are we gonna do about the reactor? Corell says that you should go negotiate.
I guess I didn't hear. So what's the status? So we have power, right? So that's good. But
Yeah,
we need to fix the reactor, right? It's still
correct.
not okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna need a permanent attendant down there. I don't know why they didn't.
Because how old
Well,
it is, or
well, any reactor should have permanent attendants to make sure things don't go wrong. I don't know why they didn't have one there. It's I don't. Doesn't make sense to me.
is it possible there was one and then it was, I don't know. We thought this might have been a planned sabotage, right? Somebody might have done something here.
Are you thinking Woolrock did this?
I mean, it doesn't make any sense for him to do it to his own property, though, right?
Right.
Right.
Pro-
I would think so. But who else?
Well, I don't know if you recall, but our list of potential enemies is still kind of long. Maybe the Black Sun.
Oh, well, if I would think if they knew where we were, it would be a much more directed attack. Although an exploding reactor would definitely leave a mark.
I mean, maybe. I mean, well, no, an exploding reactor would definitely leave a mark, but I mean, I'm thinking maybe
I was
they
going to
did
say
not.
your armor isn't that good.
Maybe, well, you're right. Maybe they didn't want to take direct action, right? Maybe they were trying to be subtle.
Hmm,
Not usually their strong suit, mind you, but
true. I mean, until we find out more, we're just guessing in the dark,
no, you're right. I mean, the reactor's got to get fixed
and
regardless.
we're not getting any closer to underpants.
What do underpants have to do with anything?
What's step
uh,
4?
yeah,
6? Which one was it?
or
4. Yeah,
Step four of what?
the
what?
great plan.
Yeah, what Corell wants to do.
Yeah.
What's step one?
Fix the ship. But actually, no. Sorry, that's step 2. We need
Yeah.
credits so we can fix the ship. So A1
Right.
is thinking we do piracy, but we can't do that until we fix the ship. So that was the idea. We said Tazi can go shake down Warrock, and what was the other one? Two cows or something like that. No, Tuco was that other thing.
No,
Whatever.
yeah. Tuco,
Terrarium,
Tu-
Tuco.
Tu-
No,
Tuco and
Tuco.
Brave, Tuco and Bravok are Wolrock.
What?
Yes,
I can't keep
they're
them straight. There's Flamboyant Head and Grumpy Head.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
That's
that. It's like that old like it's like that jizz combo. Simone and Bartunkel, right? They make one group.
Ah,
So Wolrock is both.
right.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we were thinking that you could use, your smooth talking and possibly get us some reward for not, letting the entire planet get destroyed.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
certainly try. It's. I mean, the worst they're gonna say is no, which doesn't leave us any worse off than we are right now.
Well, I mean, then we can put the thing right back the way it was and just leave. We wouldn't do that, by the way. That would be
No,
a
yeah, no,
bluff.
that's not. That really isn't us, right?
I know, but if you pretend it's us and just bluff.
Oh, I see. I see.
The
I,
A1, maybe you should teach him how to bluff.
Sure, I can do that. See, that was a
Yes,
bluff.
don't they call that? Don't they call that to blave on Naboo?
The blave?
Yeah,
Ah, you know what? You might be right. I'm not really up on Nabooian standards. They have really silly looking weapons, and the Queen of Naboo has a really silly hairstyle.
they look fancy though.
Well, they look very fancy, but I mean, apart from some of their ships, I wouldn't trust them in a fight. Not the people, I'm talking about their equipment. The people are lovely.
You know, I've never really met anybody from Naboo that I know of.
I met the hmm, what happened to her? Queen Amidala. I met I didn't really
But you
meet.
met
Okay, it wasn't really so much as a meeting as I was in the room when she was introduced to everybody. Um, actually, scuttlebutt going around the temple was that she and Master Skywalker or Jedi Skywalker had a thing.
really?
They had attachment.
They're not allowed to, right? That's not something you're
Mm-mm.
supposed to do.
Nope. But I'm also not one to pull the Gundark's tail. So
What thing did they have?
Um. Okay. Do you remember when Nacinda was on the ship
Uh huh.
and how she stayed in my room all the time?
Uh huh.
And there was a lot of giggling, and I told you to stop listening at the door?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
A door.
They had the giggles, A1. They had
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
giggles.
Um, Jedi Skywalker and Queen Amidala had the giggles together. Yes.
That's weird.
And probably the sex.
You're not wrong, little buddy.
What? Which
What?
part?
Which word didn't you understand?
None of it. All of it. So, are we going to Wolrock, or he coming here, and we got a ramp to fix? My dome's got to get fixed.
How about you guys stay here and get going on the many repairs that are required?
Yeah, why don't we start with your dome and then we'll work our way to bigger things. Take D4 with you, Tazi, and see
Yeah.
what you can do.
Yeah, I'll take D4 with me.
We'll definitely split the party here.
All right. So I think we just watch as A1 and Corel are starting to fix his dome first.
Earl pops his dome off.
I assume he's got some spare parts in there for.
Does it make like a Tupperware noise?
Yep.
And you get him cleaning him up as you're fixing his dome, and we
Yeah,
watch as
it's like transparent Durasteel or something like that, so it needs a little pounding out. Yes.
and
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
nope, Tazi and D4 are heading to go see Wolrock.
Yep.
How are you getting there? They're not next door, from
Yeah,
right.
they're
It
not
was
like neighbors. Yeah, they're not like our
They're in
Yeah.
neighbors per
town.
se.
yeah.
Um, And we don't currently have our own speeder, correct?
We do have a slower, I believe, in the ship. We never got
Yeah.
rid of that thing.
Yep. So you do have a
Well, I
slow
think
moving speeder.
yeah, but I don't know that I can offload it right now.
Oh no, the landing ramp's on the ground. So yeah,
You
you
just
can just
drive it.
drop it right out.
Drop it as though it was hot.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Well, how's Tassi going to get in the ship?
You could climb or have D4
Fine.
lift you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Tazi's going to try and clamber up into the ship.
All right. Roll a
Um,
hard athletics check.
great. Great. The first check of the night. One of my banner skills. One of the skills that Tazi's best known for is his athletics. You
Mhm.
said hard, yes?
Yep. So 3 purple.
That is one advantage.
All right.
A
So the
failure with one advantage.
so I think the advantage is you don't fall down and hurt yourself. Uh, E4 just kind of shakes his head and then
This is not easy. Climbing up into the ship without a ramp is no laughing matter.
with that D4 cups his hands together and waits for you to step in, and then he's going to try to pick you up. So he's going to have to make the same check. His athletics might be better than Tazi's, though.
Probably. It's a safe bet.
Roll the triumph and 2 successes. So D4 tosses Tazi right up there. You land on your feet. You just keep almost walking in the air, and you land and walk on down. And
Okay, okay. Let's not throw the captain around anymore, huh?
Sorry, Captain. Thought that was the easiest way to get you up there.
It was very easy, but also very unexpected. Whenever you're going to throw an ally of yours, for whatever reason, please make sure you warn them first.
Very well. I thought you stepping into my hands was warning you.
I know, but I was waiting for a count, like a 1, 2, we go on 3, like something. It wasn't just I wasn't expecting just to get thrown.
Very well. I will count down next time.
Thank you. It gives me a chance to get into get myself ready for it.
Very well, sir.
and with that, we see the slow moving speeder come out of the back of the ship, and Tazi and D4 make their way across Teth. There's a road through the jungle, and you get to Rock's place, which is a large, more modern building, very square shaped, very rectangle in all different aspects of it, and very elaborate, very colorful. And they have a nice tall fence that goes around the outside with a little ditch in front of it. And there's just a small little bridge that goes across to the front door of the front fence. I think.
I think Tazi gets out of the slower and waits for D4 to walk around, and then they approach on foot up to the door, across the bridge. And I think that like Tazi's like Tazi looks at D4 and just says, "All right, just be cool, just be cool." And Tazi reaches up his hand to knock on the door, and I think that's when we get a little bit of a cut over to Corell and A1.
Okay. So I think while that speeder slash slower was heading to Rock, that the repairs on A1 were done. That was pretty basic.
Yeah.
How are you and A1 going to put the ramp back in place, considering it's been split in half?
I think when we cut back, A1 and Curl have the two pieces of the ramp upside down on the ground, and she's
Okay.
trying to like hold it together while A1 does some preliminary welds,
Okay.
and that's where we come in. Like,
Okay. Yeah, he's
Well,
got
then,
his.
well, do you then turn them upside down and then round and round, or inside out and round and round? Is that how it
we're not
goes?
talking about underwear. We're talking about the ramp.
That's true. All right. So A1's got his arc welder popped out of his torso, and he is welding slowly, trying to make sure he gets a good deep weld. And there's the sparks flying. And he gets done with the first weld. Looks at you. All right. We need to flip it over.
All right. And Curl steps back and with the just kind of lifts her hand with the force, just lifts it up and turns it over gently, and then sets it back down.
Okay. And we see some time pass as he makes the next weld. And it takes a while because it's
Yeah.
slow to weld things, especially if you want a good deep weld into it. And eventually he gets it done. All right. What piece of hull plate are we going to take off to put over the top?
I mean, we'd probably want to pick something that doesn't get hit all the time. Yeah, actually, let's take one off one of the drop pods.
All
Because
right.
if it gets hit, it gets hit.
Yeah, I don't think we can put the DeLorean doors on it and ditch the ramp. It would look funny to see the side of the ship open up and
I mean,
everybody come out.
wait, are you talking about putting gull wing doors on the ship? I mean, we could do that, but that's going to change the superstructure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's theoretically possible. Let's work on that after we get the ramp back on.
All right. So do you guys work on taking apart the piece of the hull armor off one of the drop pods and putting it back on there? Who's primary on this? Do you think it's you or A1?
I think it's probably me at this point.
Okay. I'm gonna say make. Gosh, this is gonna be tough because we're really trying to improvise things. So make a mechanics check. Thinking it's going to be a hard check and throw in 2 black dice just because it's not like the materials aren't designed to do this. So there's some cutting some pieces and improvising with the parts.
All right. I'm going to negate one of those setback dice because I have an ability called Mental Tools. I always count as having the right tools for a job when performing mechanics tests.
Okay. Fair enough.
One setback die. All right. Hey, that setback die came up blank. So did that green. Ugh. All right. Actually, I end up with 1 success. Everything else washed out.
All right.
So it's not pretty, but we're pretty like we put it up. We get it put together, get it up, and we do a pressure test, and it holds.
All right. With that, we'll pop
I'm gonna
back over.
I'm gonna quick say,
Go ahead.
I think the big downside is we couldn't get the hydraulics working right. So there's literally like we have to bring it up with like a rope, and then latch it closed. And then when we want to let it down, we gotta let it down with a rope, or it'll just fall off again.
Okay. Probably shouldn't ask Tazi to do that part.
No, 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 no.
All right. With that, I think we cut back over to Tazi and D4. You knock on the door, ring the doorbell at the gate, and the little monitor pops up. Hello? And you see Braybox face in the monitor. Oh, you're here. Interesting. What can we do for you? I think you're on mute.
I was. Yeah, we're here to talk about the reactor on our property.
Oh, you fixed it?
We kept it from exploding, and now we'd like to talk to you about it as our landlords.
All right. Well,
as our leaseholders.
I guess come on in. You hear a buzz and the gate slides open. And it's metallic doors. They're an orangish metal color as it slides open.
Tazi turns back to D4 real quick.
Mhm.
All right, just keep your eyes and ears open. I mean, I don't expect they're going to do anything to harm us, but you never know.
Very well. If we suspect foul play, is there a code you'd like us to use so we know when to attack?
I don't think we're going to be attacking right now, D4. We're just going to collect information right now,
Very well.
or try to.
Understood.
And he steps in beside you and starts walking beside you. And you walk up. And it's a very nice house. It's that
Is it
same
like
kind of.
overly lavish?
The outside is this, like I said, that orange metallic cover, but everything is very
Gaudy? Yeah.
rectangle shaped, and there's lots of open windows. Not
Would you
open, but
say the outside of of the house is like gaudy and the inside is classier, or is it gaudy all around, or like
it's definitely for show. With lots of windows, there's lots of light inside. As you're walking through, there's a nice garden that they've made here in, what's a forest, but they've got several plants and different things that they've brought in from other planets.
all right?
It's kind of almost a hodgepodge of different things. It's like they couldn't decide on one theme, so there's several themes as you walk up and
Gotcha.
several different planets.
Several different color combos. Like it's not none of these
Yeah.
places are like matching, right?
Yeah. And as you get up to the door, it's got two big white doors, double doors that open up, and they're probably 8, 9 feet tall. And they swing open as soon as you guys get up onto the porch. Oh,
Impressive.
oh, thank you. It's just our humble little abode. So we're glad that you managed to stop the reactor. It means we don't have to leave our home, nor do you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
no, we're pretty happy about the fact that it's no longer going to explode violently, but
Very well. Did you find out the cause of this?
we're still looking into the cause. We found out what the triggers may have been.
Do tell, do tell.
And Tazi starts to explain what they found, um,
Yeah. The
the
Womp
way that
Rats and
the Womp Rats, the way that the system had to be disabled, the fact that the radiation was so strong we had to send the droids in. Like Tazi goes into a capsulized version of this story.
oh, they listen and nod, and once you're done, they're like, "Oh, very well." And Braybach kind of leans over to Toku. I and you hear him say this. He says it in a whisper, but it's a loud whisper. I told you bringing those stupid Womp Rats was a bad idea.
Look, I was assured they would reproduce and they would be worth some money on the meat market.
Well, as you can see, wrong again. Next time you should listen to me. Remember, you're the pretty face, I'm the brains.
If I listened to you, we would never do anything fun.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, we have guests. We should see what they need. He turns back to you guys. So, it's fixed?
It's serviceable. That's the best way I can put it, I think.
Very
It's
well.
not going to explode now, but we do need to repair it, and we also need to have a monitor, uh,
Okay.
something or somebody watching the reactor. Typically, there's somebody posted to watch it. That's normally part of a service, but apparently they haven't been here for some time.
Very well. How do you plan on doing that?
Well, we talked about it a bit, and we thought that there may be some responsibility to be had on the landlord's part for not necessarily fulfilling the routine maintenance that a reactor like this would need to go through.
Ah, understandable. But I would point out if you were to read page 73 of your lease, subsection 2, paragraph 4, you are responsible for everything on the property, including the maintenance and repairs and monitoring of it. It's on your leased property, so therefore, you're responsible for it.
Is that true? That's a fact.
Yes. Would you like to see a copy of the lease? It's only 232 pages. I'm sure you read every single page, right?
No, no, I don't think I need to see a copy of the lease per se. Um, but if I remember what we had read prior to, picking up this lovely piece of property, um, this monastery, this ruin, had been on the market for some time before we came along, right?
True, true.
Hmm.
Now, part of that was because we were looking for a responsible tenant. You are a captain of a ship, so we assumed you're responsible for organizing
Oh,
your
oh,
crew.
you were looking for responsible tenants. It wasn't just the first group of people that came around showing interest in the property.
Correct. Yes, of course. We turned several people down before you came along.
Several people, yes. So it could be said that unless you've got records of that maintenance that you can provide, then it can be assumed that you were not keeping up proper maintenance on the reactor before you transferred the property to us.
Well, we'd have to check our records and see.
Yeah, I think you should do that.
All right, very well. We will look into that, but you do know that does provide power for several homes in the area and a few of the farms. It would be,
That's real unfortunate that you've tied all your properties to this one thing that you don't seem to have been taking care of.
well, unfortunate for who?
Well, all of your other tenants.
How so?
Well, the fact of the matter remains that if the repairs to the reactor aren't made, then your other tenants will also suffer.
Potentially. But you would perhaps be the one they might be angry with because you would be the ones that would be denying them that service.
Um, we would have to be there for them to be mad at us.
True, true. You could leave, but something tells me you're not the type of person just to leave those in need while you go out and do something else.
Well, you're right. Typically, I would not be that person. If I felt that I was responsible for those people. In this particular case, I don't. This is your responsibility as the property owner. We're simply leasing the property, but the condition of the property, especially this piece of equipment that you are using as the property owner to power all of your other properties. As much as you like to say that in the lease that falls on us, I'm willing to bet that from a legal standpoint, that's going to fall on you.
Yeah, we could debate that later. And you feel a hand on your shoulder,
Mhm.
and D4 leans over to you.
Captain, perhaps I could take a look at that lease and see if there are any wording I could use
Uh,
to our advantage. I
yeah, we'll consider that in a moment or two here. We'll consider that in a moment. certainly. But Tazi's going to make a negotiation roll.
Okay.
What's my difficulty?
Opposed to his. So his. Hold on. Let me get that sheet up. I don't know why it's not in front of me. A red and 3 purple.
Right? And I'm going to use a light side point to upgrade my green to a yellow.
Ooh. All right. 4 dark side. 1 light side left.
3 yellow versus 1 red and 3 purple. 4 yellow. Sorry, not 3 yellow. 4 yellow. All right. See how this goes. And with this, Tazi is trying to get them to accept responsibility for the reactor.
Mhm.
That is a triumph.
Okay.
All
Ooh.
3 purple dice came up blank.
Nice.
Um, so I have a triumph with 2 additional successes. A triumph with 2 additional successes and 1 threat.
All right. All right. So,
So I think Tazi kind of leans in to Worock in general, kind of addressing both heads. Look, this isn't our first interstellar rodeo. This isn't yours. I know the drill. I know that if this was another less savvy person, you might be able to get them to accept this. But we're not going to. We're already doing work for you to offset some of the costs of our living space. But in this case, you, Worak, both entities are going to see that the property, the reactor, is repaired. The compromise I'm willing to make is that we will see to the maintenance droid.
okay. With the triumph, do you want Toku to step in now and say something? Since Braybach's been kind of trying to quote strong arm you, I'll say. I don't know if that's the right
Sure,
term, but
sure. So I think like I like to think like Worak like takes a step back
Mhm.
and you can see like the heads arguing with each other.
Okay.
And Worak steps back up to Tazi and D4. Fine. We know when we are dealing with someone who knows the score, as it were. We will see to the condition of your reactor as it will benefit the other tenants we do so happily entreat. And then we will also. And he looks over at Braybach, and Braybach has just a real glowering look on its face.
Mhm.
Nods. We will update the terms of your lease to include only the maintenance droid as part of your lease. You will be responsible for maintaining the condition of the reactor once we have repaired it. Is that satisfactory to you, Captain? I think Tazi looks back at D4, looks back with kind of a smile. I think we can make that work.
Very well. We will send over the new paperwork later, and we will arrange for a crew to come in and work on the reactor.
Oh, and you'll also send somebody over to clean out the womp rats that you inadvertently released into our reactor core.
Very well. I'm sure I can find a local that wants a little extra work. Anything else?
No, I think that's it for now.
Very well.
Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Yes.
Pleasure doing business with you.
And you. Have a nice evening.
You as well. Come on, D4.
And as you walk back to the speeder, D4 looks over at you.
Captain, might I recommend my past experience with my previous employer has taught me a little bit about legalities and loopholes. Perhaps before we sign anything, I could look over the documents and make sure we don't end up in a situation like this again.
Certainly, we should. If I recall the process, we're gonna have to initial off on the revisions anyway. So,
Possibly. Might I also recommend in the new paperwork that instead of Woolrock getting the payment for the power, that if we are responsible for the maintenance, that perhaps we get some of the credits from the power.
oh, a maintenance fee is what you're talking about. Yes.
Correct. Providing power to the people at a cost, which is what they already do, but we would be the ones that would get that payment.
I think that's fair. We are incurring some of those costs for maintenance after all.
Yes. And we do need to find a attendant that we can put down there that we can trust and train to maintain things. That might be a challenge.
And if Warrock is unhappy with those particular terms, we can always, I don't know, go down into the reactor core and cut the power to the other tents.
That is one option.
I mean, it certainly wouldn't be the nicest thing to do, but it
Oh,
would put
that's
Woolrock in the position that they'd have to take action.
true. It is not the worst thing we could do. Previous
Ooh,
employer would just remove Woolrock from the equation and acquire his assets.
that's a little dark, D4, but I can't say that I'm not on board. We'll see how this plays out.
Very well. If I could be of any advice, please reach out to me.
Of course. Of course.
Thank you, sir. And
And then he holds the speeder door open for you, waiting for you to get in.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then we see the speeder rocket across the forest at a whopping 2 kilometers per hour, however fast this thing goes. And eventually gets back to the ship where Tazi and D4 see Krell and A1 finishing up, putting the loading ramp back in place. And we see Corel pulling on a rope and chain system, and we see the ramp going up and then slowly being lowered and then going back up and slowly being lowered. I think you're on mute.
You're right. I sneezed, so I muted and then I tazied. I think the hinge is working pretty well at that point. Um, and there's no gap at the top, so I think we're okay. One,
Uh, all right.
I think we're gonna have to come up with some sort of pulley or mount so Tazi can use it. But I think either you and I can easily get it going.
Why don't you just use the force? I think that's the easiest way.
I'm just saying when I'm not here, Tazi may want to get into or out of the ship.
Ooh, what if we teach him to come through the droid entry? He's skinny enough.
I mean, he.
I think that's about the time
Yeah, I think so.
Tazi and D4 roll up. Oh, they're back. A1 rolls over to the speeder. How'd it go?
Well, we
Let me guess. We're gonna do
successful.
another job for him. That's what usually
Sarkhan,
happens.
no,
No, that's what usually happens when they get involved. It's nothing about you. It's just I'm frustrated with them.
no, that's clearly, and you have right to be. But in this case, they will be covering the cost of repairs to the reactor. Um, the compromise is that we will be responsible for instituting the maintenance droid
Hmm.
as part of our lease because compromise is an important part of any negotiation.
Okay.
And then, D4 had the wonderful idea that, as it turns out, our reactor is also powering most of the nearby settlements.
That's great. Why are we doing that?
I think they're tied into it. I don't know that we are doing anything, but we, if D4's idea pans out, we will be drawing a small stipend off of the payments that the other tenants make for power to help
Hmm.
cover our maintenance costs.
Hmm. Okay. I mean that's actually pretty genius. I mean, I'd hate to have like somebody not pay and then we have to like shut off their power. That would be kind of a bad move, but
Well, yeah, Braybach was not happy about the whole thing, but Toku seemed to be able to talk them into it. So I know
well,
they were arguing back and forth for quite a few minutes.
well, I mean, well done. I mean, normally they kind of run roughshod over you a little bit. So you got the best of them this time.
Oh, and
Assuming,
they'll be sending someone over to clean up the leftover Womp Rat
oh, okay,
carcasses.
okay, good. I was afraid we were going to have to go down there and kind of shovel some of that stuff out. We got to figure out how those got here.
It turns out,
Oh no.
no, it turns out that it seems like Wolrock, one of them, I think Toku, um, had them imported for some reason, maybe for meat. I'm not sure,
And
but
let them loose in our reactor room?
I don't know that they were released into our reactor room or if the Womp Rats did what Womp Rats do, repopulated so quickly and got free.
We got to find a better place to live with smarter people.
I
You,
mean,
you want to live
yes
with
and
smarter
no.
people? What's wrong with us?
No, I mean, we if we're going to rent from people, let's not rent from morons.
Ah, so we don't get to be landlords. Got it.
What? Why do I have a headache suddenly?
I don't know. Do you want me to rub your temples?
No, no, that's okay. Your fusion cutter's still on the warm side.
Do you need an aspirin or a drink?
No,
Or
we're okay. So, anyway, Tazi, good job. We have got the ramp set up on the ship.
Yeah, I see that this looks to be a bit a bit Jawa rigged.
It is janky, yes, but that's the best we can do. Also, important safety tip: port cargo pod. Don't expose it to enemy fire.
I take it some of the parts from that pod are
One of the
now.
major armor plates is now on the bottom of the ramp. So yes,
All right.
it's the only way we could ensure structural integrity.
How about we just seal off that cargo pod so that if it does get hit, we're in
Already
good
done.
shape. All right.
Already done.
All right. So we're gonna start running our own power business.
I guess we need to find something to maintain it, though. We either got to find somebody to hire or get a droid who does power
I,
engineering.
yeah, I think we can probably find a local to take care of it.
Okay. Where do you
We-
want to start?
That's a really good question. I don't know where do the I guess I would ask you, where do the droids hang out here?
With whoever is their employer slash owner. There's not like a bar where we all go hang out and talk. That's not what we do. Maybe we could start one. Then we could do like a big oil bath, and droids could just come in and kind of swim around in the oil bath.
I
And
mean, we do have a lot of extra room in the east part of the castle. We
yeah,
could subdivide it and make it like a droid spa.
It's a monastery.
yeah, be quiet.
Whatever. They called it a castle. It kind of stuck in my head. Big stone building with lots of ventilation issues.
That's fair. That's a fair description.
I mean, then if we could actually find like a concierge droid who could take care of it for us, then we have a revenue stream going on. As long as we are allowed to operate a business out of, well, if we're operating a power business out of our home, I don't see any reason why we couldn't do a droid bath, like a droid spa. That would make sense. That's a good idea.
I'm not sure about the property rules and guidelines here,
Well,
but
didn't you read the 243-page contract? The lease agreement?
Corell, do you think I read that document front to back?
Well, Tansy, I'm trying not to assume. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt.
I
Think-
appreciate that, but no, I did not read the entire document.
I think next to Tazi, you see D4 shaking his head, and he puts one hand on his forehead and kind of crosses his arms.
D4, do you have accounting subroutines?
I do have experience with businesses and how they are run. My previous employer was a mastermind at businesses and how they run and how shall I say, bring more businesses into his network.
Okay, so could you work up a proposal for this droid spa idea?
Certainly.
We'll workshop some names over dinner.
Very well. I also would like to look over the new lease and make sure that there is wording in there that we can charge the other residents of the planet for the power and make sure that we are in control of that.
Okay, who has the new lease?
I believe it's being sent over shortly.
Ah, okay. Well, I need to hit the fresher because I am covered with dirt and dust and a couple small burns from your fusion cutter. So, uh,
I told you
Yeah,
not to put your hand there.
you didn't say where. You said don't put your hand there, and then you gestured with your fusion cutter to where my hand was.
Right.
Where my hand was.
Right. I told you not to put it there, and you put it there.
No, my hand was already there.
And I said, don't put it there.
But did you have to actually point with the fusion cutter?
Well, no, but
Right, that's what I'm saying.
all right, all right. Just don't
Use
hit the
your
fresh.
words, not your plasma.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna go take care of this, and I'll meet you guys for dinner in a little bit, okay?
All right. Don't hit the fresher too hard. We don't want it to break.
No, I'm gonna go get clean, A1.
Oh, yeah, you should do that. You probably smell. Whew.
I, mm, I,
I don't. I don't have a nose, so I can't.
we know. Remember when you tried cooking?
Yeah,
That's when we discovered you had no olfactory sensors.
I thought it was great.
Tazi, I'm sure, has an opinion on it. A very good opinion, right, Tazi? And as Terrell says that, she turns and doesn't quite run, but strolls very quickly into the castle.
I mean, we probably should have assumed you didn't have olfactory sensors,
Mhm.
like scent sensors.
Yeah.
Most astromechs don't.
True.
Um,
So, are we off to meet the neighbors to tell them they're going to pay us now for power and not the other guys?
I uh, yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. Are we all going?
I don't know that they're going to pay us for power, but they are going to pay us a maintenance fee
Well, I
since
think we
we're
should just.
responsible. Well, yeah,
All
no,
right.
no, but I mean, if we try to strong arm the power payments, it's just going to be a fight with Warrock, and I don't really feel like I want to get into that fight right now.
It's not really a fight. I can just lock the computers out. He can't get in. Then they can't do anything else. Ooh, better yet. How about we go and tell them we're all setting them up on automatic payment that's digital? It'll all route through us. I'll lock Worak out so he
Uh,
can't get access, and then I can just slowly pay him a little bit.
Look, little buddy, I know that like these are all really good ideas, but I don't know that I want to put these people in the middle of what's going on between us and Braybach, Toku.
All right. So we're just going to ask for a maintenance fee?
I think that's just the fair part, right? We are providing power to them. They're paying they're paying Worak for the power, but the least they could do is pay us a maintenance fee. Since we are making sure that their power stays intact.
All right. We can try that. Can we agree, though, if your plan doesn't work, we go with my plan?
We'll talk about it.
All right. Fair enough. And A1 just waits for you to pick a direction to go.
Now, Chris, side note as a player, I know we talked about sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that we already think may have happened, or
Uh, my
is
notes.
the Womp Rats is the Womp Rats just a coincidence?
No, if I remember right, though, and I may not have described it.
Okay,
Oh, no, I did. Last session, the only tracks you found down there were the Womp Rat tracks. and the wires look like they were chewed by the womp rats.
Okay.
So unless the sabotage was dropping the womp rats down here, you don't think anybody else has been down there for a while.
So we had nothing in the initial encounter proved out to be something that would be sabotage.
Correct. Nothing that you guys saw.
Got it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I know we
Mhm.
had that was a I didn't want that to be something that we lost, right?
Right. Nope, I'm with you. Hey, Nathan. Nice that you joined us.
I
Hey, Nathan, welcome.
welcome, sir. I think there's going to be a little montage of Tazi going from homestead to homestead. Like
Okay.
it's a knock on the door, and like you get some people are conversing, and some people slam the door. You know, most of the doors get slammed. I think most of the residents are not receptive to paying an additional maintenance fee to people they don't know.
Okay. Um, hold on a second. It's not- So since Teth is mostly a jungle planet, most of your neighbors are either wealthy, and this is kind of a retreat they go to, like a vacation home almost.
Okay,
Or you have people who are,
it's like the southwest coast of Michigan.
yeah, yeah.
All people from Chicago.
The other people that are there, the residents that stay there on a permanent basis, are mostly they have small farms or they're
Caretakers.
yeah, I was gonna say they're um what do you call it? They harvest different things from the jungle. I know there's a term for it. For the life of me, I'm blanking on what it is. They're looking for medicinal herbs and different things in the jungle.
Farmers,
Drug dealers?
gatherers,
Gatherers, that's what I was trying to think of. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. So,
drug dealers.
I mean, in a way, yeah.
Season 2.
The spice must flow.
Mhm.
So you have some really nice houses and then some farmsteads. So roll let's go with a negotiation check. Let's go with formidable. So it's going to be 4 purples. So you just have the different type of people. And since we have 4 of these dark side points, let's flip one over. Let's make one of those purples a red.
Okay.
I think Tazi has a pretty good negotiation still, though.
Yeah. So 2 reds, 2 purples now, right?
Red and 3 purples.
3 purples. Okay. Right. Coming to you. Well, another triumph.
Nice.
So it is going to be actually it's only the triumph and as the success. The other successes are canceled out. So it's literally a triumph. That's all I've got.
Oh, okay. No advantages or threats.
Advantages and threats all canceled out.
Oh, nice.
Just the
And
triumph.
so is it a failure with a triumph or success as a
No,
triumph?
it's a six. The triumph
Okay,
is the only success. So it
gotcha.
is a success, but it
Gotcha.
is one success
It's
as
it's
a
one of
triumph.
those it's one of
Yeah.
those weird areas that the system is a little confused on
Yeah.
Right.
or
No,
confusing on.
I understand what you're
Everything
saying.
else canceled out. I have one success left, and it happens to be the triumph.
There you go.
Okay. So I think as those negotiations are going along, the people that have the nicer houses just after a few minutes kind of roll their eyes and agree to a small maintenance fee. They're not agreeing to anything special. The farmers are a much tougher sell because they don't have a lot of extra credits. They're kind of scraping by. With the Triumph, what would you like to do with that?
Let's say the Triumph is one of the houses
Mhm.
is like a senator's aide,
Okay.
and the senator's aide was less than the senator's aide was in a particular rush to get me out of that house.
Okay.
So they agreed to pay a much larger sum than the rest of the group did.
All right.
So uh, the senator's aide is picking up the majority of our maintenance costs.
All right. Fair enough. What would you like to do with the farmers that were struggling to make the payment? Are you
Um, Kazi would likely, with this is what the way the Triumph works best for Tazi. I'm willing to bet that the farmers that were struggling to make the payment, Tazi would probably hand wave them.
okay?
Maybe,
Um,
maybe if I may make a suggestion, maybe the senator's aide is making up the farmer's deficit.
that's what I was getting to. So I think
Oh,
early in the process, Tazi kind of hand waved the farmers, thinking we'll just make it work. And then toward the end of the process, toward the end of these negotiations, these stops and hellos and such, that's when one of the last houses is the senator's aide, and they agree to pay enough to make up for the farmers.
Okay. That works for me. And that it's going to take most of the rest of the evening for Tazi and A1. Whoops.
and, while that's going on, I think, Corella's went back, got cleaned up, and then prepped some food, and the camera just sits on her for a good 15 seconds as she sits in the dining area completely alone, like, nobody else is there. D4's, like, hanging out with her, but, like, there's a place set for Tazi. It just takes so much, they took so long that his food's getting cold.
Okay. So we see as the evening wraps up, Tazi and A1 come back to the castle. I'm going to keep calling it a castle because I like that term. And dinner's ready
Fair,
for you. What's that?
fair.
Yeah. And your dinner's cold, and A1 rolls up, and he's going to head down and start working on doing repairs and stuff down on the reactor. He says he can plug himself in while he's down there, and he's going to work on getting that reactor all set up and get it moving smooth. During the night, Woelrock did send some people over to also start working on things down there. So there's a small crew down there. I'm assuming Corral let them in and let
Yeah.
them go down.
Oh, 100%.
Perfect. And then everybody gets a nice rest. And the next day pops up, and there's the contract. The new lease comes over, and D4 reads through it rather quickly. Have him make a.
Legal check.
I think it'd be fall under education. She's pretty
Quite
good at,
possibly.
believe it or not. Have him make a hard. Have him make a hard education check. Four successes and three advantages. So he's able to pick through it, make sure that he rewords a few things to ensure that the crew can charge their maintenance fee and that they're not being charged any other hidden fees for owning the property. And then he rewrites it, hands it to Tazi, and
Captain, I believe this is sufficient for what we need. Would you like to read through it yourself?
No, no, I believe you. I trust you, D4. I don't really have any interest in I know we need to do this, but at the same time, I trust you. I'm sure it's fine.
Might I make a suggestion, Captain? Could we use some of the local farmers and exchange for labor, provide them with power at a reduced rate and not charge them the maintenance fee?
Well, D4, the way this all kind of played out, the farmers aren't really going to pay a maintenance fee.
Ah,
That senator, that senator's aide, is paying the uh, the crate dragon's share of the fees.
very well. Perhaps we could employ them to help maintain the reactor.
Perhaps, but I still feel like we're better off with a droid, just in case there's a radiation problem again.
That is fair. We'll have to find one.
We don't want to inadvertently get someone sick.
That is true. Very well.
And he has you sign off on it, and then he sends a copy over to Wolrock.
Wonderful. This is what happens when we're all tired and drawing a blank, folks.
Yeah,
Oh.
that does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to read
Chris-
one of my own notes that I did. I don't say wrong, but I forgot
Hey,
about.
did,
So it's
did
not a big
everybody
deal.
know that this is a great time to take a drink? Water is good for you folks. There's a bot that tells you all about it, but Cthulhu loves it. You should get used to it.
It's not water, but close enough.
It's a clear liquid. Mhm.
Close. All
Anyway,
right. So the lease and everything, the new lease is signed, so the crew has rights to charge a maintenance fee and control of maintaining the reactor. Got the senator's aide that's paying for the different things like that. I didn't ask. We should probably figure this out. Which senator or what planet do you think he's an aide for?
Well, I would assume it's got to be a planet nearby Teth, right?
Mhm.
At least within the same system.
Okay.
Because I would think, again, if we're talking about these being kind of vacation homes, I can't imagine that someone's going to come from like
The core world.
the core worlds out to the outer rim for a vacation home on Teth. Although it's possible, I suppose. Rich people travel ridiculous distances for things that could get very close to home. So
True.
no, I don't know that for sure. Not being a rich person, but I think that's something. Think that's something that happens.
Yeah. I'm just making a note about the senator's aide.
No, Nathan. Oh, I don't think we can actually use that term, but I do appreciate the inventiveness. Nor
Are
can
they
we talk
looking?
about
Are they looking for
for
work on the rim?
employment. Yes,
Yeah.
they're looking for employment on the rim. Yeah. I think there's a
Oh boy, this is
Yeah.
taking it. This
isn't
is
there a red
taking what we
dwarf
call
joke
a
here
turn.
somewhere? Anyone? Okay, never mind.
All right. I think we
They're
can.
looking for employment with candy makers on the rim. It looks like.
ah, I hear there's a lot of money in preparing fudge for shipment. And you know
I-
what? I think, Chris, on that note, are we about ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I think there's just a little montage with the crew going into the local spaceport to find a droid. You want to roll another quick hard negotiation check to see if you find one. Whoever has the best
Certainly.
negotiation. It's
Probably
probably
Tazi.
yeah. A1 and D4 are not going to beat your negotiation.
Corel,
Do
are you a negotiator?
you want me to threaten somebody? Then yeah, I'm your girl.
All
I
right.
mean,
Well, let's just do the
A1
regular
would roll a whole
negotiation check.
2 green dice, so
I mean, for
You
the
said it was
comedy effect, I
a
could
hard check, you
hard
said?
check. Yep, 3 purple.
Yeah, I got 3 green, so yeah, I'm untrained in negotiation.
So's A1.
Hmm.
That is 1 success and 4 advantages. 1
Nice.
success, 4 advantages.
So you guys find a nice maintenance droid that's within your budget.
In other
Do
words, we
we
have
ha
to
now
fix it.
now are we here's a question, Chris. Are we purchasing a maintenance droid? Are we contracting a maintenance droid from someone else? Or do we find a droid that is effectively free,
Okay.
like masterless, like our
Right, right.
droids are?
You have 4 advantages. What would you like to do with them?
I think I'd like to leave this up to A1 and D4 because I think when it comes to droid droid rights and the plight of the droid, they are the best choice to make this decision.
Uh, A1 is always going to lean towards liberating droids. So he's going to ask you to purchase one and then request that we offer the droid employment, but it's always his choice.
How about with this? I'd like to spend a light side point.
Okay.
Do we have one? Oh, we do have
Yep.
one. Yes.
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 And there just happens to be a broken down droid, like not like totally defunct, but like okay, I hate to do this. It is a malfunctioning like battle droid. Like
I was
one of the little Roger guys.
is it a
A
battle
B2.
droid that's like missing a leg sitting
He is
outside of
missing
the
a
repair
leg.
shop?
He's got like a little cup held out. And he's just like, credits for the poor. Help me find a leg. Help me
Credits,
get a
credits,
leg. Credits. Yes.
credits, credits.
100%. Yeah. And he's just sitting there. And I think when A1 sees him, he's like, I can fix you and give you purpose.
Yeah, that works. And I think we have a little scene of some time passing as A1 is teaching him and reprogramming him how to maintain the reactor and what he has to look for on the computer and control rods and all that fun stuff.
Yay, another droid that Chris gets to play.
He's going to stay in the reactor.
Not in the reactor,
Well,
working on the
working on the
reactor.
reactor. Yeah.
Okay. Until we have to run away from this place, and then there will be another droid for somebody to play.
Yeah. And I
Chris
think
plays all the droids. That's how this works. Chris plays the droids, and we laugh every time we add a new droid to the repertoire.
2 over 9 years isn't too bad.
Well,
We added 1 per
we had
season.
Zeke. We had Zeke for a while. You know what? Let's
Yeah.
before we do this, thank you everybody for taking part in this very disjointed episode of Smuggler's Blues. And we
Smuggler's
really
Blues Sims, everybody.
yes, we definitely were playing
Smuggler's
Sims here.
Blues Business Edition.
Getting wanga. Yeah. So, Michael, where can people find out more about you if they don't want to come back next week or in 2 weeks?
Well, you can always use the Googles to find out more about me. They're relatively accurate. You can find me here, of course. You can find me on the show Tubular Teens with Titans, which is a Power Rangers inspired audio drama. It can be found on any of your podcatchers. I play the team mentor. It's a lot of fun. You can also find me coming up very shortly on the returning show Time of Masks and Daggers right here on Rook and Rasp. It is a Dragon Age role playing system game. We'll be starting season 2 at some point in the near future, I think. We've been talking about it. Um, and I think that's it for now. Oh, yeah, that's it for now.
Chris, how about you?
Excellent. I do some work with the RPG Academy. So tomorrow I will actually be doing detention with Michael. And then Thursday I'll be running Dragonlance. We're getting close to being done with the module Shadow of the Dragon Queen. I'm on Discord, mostly with right here on Rook and Rasp and with the RPG Academy. I don't do a lot with the other social medias, mostly because they're just up and down. I never know what's going on in the world, so I keep to myself mostly when it comes to that stuff. Where can we find you, Kaylee?
Oh, whoa, that's amazing. You can also find me very occasionally on Tubular Teens with Titans, playing the team mom, Mrs. Tara. Uh, but because these kids just need some inspiration. You used to be able to find me. Nope, you're not. I can't find me there anymore. That's pretty much it right now. I'm doing a lot of things locally with my 3D printing business, and that's about it. What I would suggest is if any of you are still online and listening to us live, head over to the Identico Twitch and let's give some numbers over to Neon Trails, friends of the show, Caleb and
Can we
Mallow
do a
and the rest of
raid?
them.
Can we
Yeah,
raid
can
over
we?
there?
How do we raid? Can somebody who's better than us? We're gonna introduce you to somebody who doesn't really appear on our show, but is a very big help. John, if you are still in the
Yep.
background, can you tell
It
us how to raid?
looks like we've got it going here. Raid
Raid
Identico.
Identico.
The
There we go.
command
All
has
right.
been entered.
All right. We're gonna go raid Identico.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
We'll be back in 2 weeks for. Oh, we'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode of Smuggler's Blues, This Old House Edition.
Bye.
See you,
See
folks.
you next time, everyone.